Good morning, spiritual companions. We are reading the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Continuing chapter 10, Sri Ramakrishna at Siampukur. On page 420, October 22nd, 1885. It was Thursday evening, a few days after the Durga Puja. Sri Ramakrishna sat on his bed in his room on the second floor with Dr. Sakar, Ishan, and several of the devotees. Although Dr. Sakar was a very busy physician, he would spend a long time, sometimes 6 or 7 hours, in Sri Ramakrishna's company. He had a great love for the Master and looked on the devotees as his own kith and kin. A lamp was burning in the room. Moonlight illumined the outside world. Addressing Ishan, a householder devotee, the Master said, "Blessed indeed is the householder who, while he performs his duties in the world, cherishes love for the lotus feet of God. He is, indeed, a hero. He is like a man who carries a heavy load of 2 maunds on his head and at the same time watches a bridal procession. One cannot lead such a life without great spiritual power. Again, such a man is like the mudfish, which lives in the mud but is not stained by it. Or again, such a householder may be compared to a waterfowl, which is constantly diving under water, and yet, by fluttering its wings only once, shakes off all trace of wet." You may ask, is there any difference between the realizations of 2 jnanis, one a householder and the other a monk? The reply is that the 2 belong to one class. Both of them are jnanis. They have the same experience. But a householder jnani has reason to fear. He cannot altogether get rid of his fear as long as he is to live in the midst of woman and gold. If you constantly live in a room full of soot, you are sure to soil your body, be it ever so little, no matter how clever you may be. When they parch rice, a few grains jump out of the frying pan to the ground. These are white, like malika flowers, without the slightest stain on them. But the grains that remain in the pan are also good, though not as immaculate as the fresh malika flower. They are a little stained. In the same way, if a monk who has renounced the world attains divine wisdom, he appears as spotless as the white flower. But one who stays in the frying pan of the world after attaining knowledge may get a little blemish. All laugh. Although a jnani living in the world may have a little blemish, yet this does not injure him. The moon undoubtedly has dark spots, but these do not obstruct its light. The doctor said, "It is very hard to control the sense organs. They are like restive horses, whose eyes must be covered with blinkers. In the case of some horses, it is necessary to prevent them from seeing at all." Master, a man need not fear anything if but once he receives God's grace, if but once he obtains the vision of God, if but once he attains self-knowledge. Then the 6 passions cannot do him any harm. Eternally perfect souls like Narada and Prahlada did not have to take the trouble to put blinkers on their eyes. The child who holds his father's hand while walking along a narrow ridge in the paddy field may loosen his hold in a moment of carelessness and slip into the ditch. But it is quite different if the father holds the child's hand. Then the child never falls into the ditch. Doctor: But it is not proper for a father to hold his child by the hand. Master: It is not quite like that. Great sages have childlike natures. Before God, they are always like children. They have no pride. Their strength is the strength of God, the strength of their Father. They have nothing to call their own. They are firmly convinced of that. Doctor: Can you make a horse move forward without first covering his eyes with blinkers? Can one realize God without first controlling the passions? Master: What you say is according to the path of discrimination. Through that path, too, one attains God. The jnanis say that an aspirant must, first of all, purify his heart. First, he needs spiritual exercises. Then he will attain knowledge. But God can also be realized through the path of devotion. Once the devotee develops love for the lotus feet of God and enjoys the singing of his name and attributes, he does not have to make a special effort to restrain his senses. For such a devotee, the sense organs come under control of themselves. Suppose a man has just lost his son and is mourning his death. Can he be in a mood to quarrel with others that very day, or enjoy a feast in a friend's house? Can he, that very day, show his pride before others, or enjoy sense pleasures? If a moth discovers light, can it remain in darkness any longer? Doctor, with a smile: Of course it cannot. It would rather fly into the flame and perish. Master: Oh no, that's not so. A lover of God does not burn himself to death like the moth. The light to which he rushes is like the light of a gem. That light is brilliant, no doubt, but it is also cooling and soothing. That light does not scorch his body. It gives him joy and peace. One realizes God by following the path of discrimination and knowledge, but this is an extremely difficult path. It is easy enough to say such things as, I am not the body, mind, or intellect. I am beyond grief, disease, and sorrow. I am the embodiment of existence, knowledge, bliss absolute. I am beyond pain and pleasure. I am not under the control of the sense organs, but it is very hard to assimilate these ideas and practice them. Suppose I see my hand cut by a thorn and blood gushing out. Then it is not right for me to say, Why, my hand is not cut by the thorn. I am all right. In order to be able to say that, I must first of all burn the thorn itself in the fire of knowledge. Doctor, to the devotees: If he, meaning Sri Ramakrishna, has studied books, he could not have acquired so much knowledge. Faraday communed with nature. That is why he was able to discover many scientific truths. He could not have known so much from the mere study of books. Mathematical formulas only throw the brain into confusion and bar the path to original inquiry. Master, there was a time when I lay on the ground in the Panchavati and prayed to the Divine Mother. O Mother, reveal to me what the ritualists have realized through their ritualistic worship, what the yogis have realized through yoga, and what the jnanis have realized through discrimination. How intensely I communed with the Divine Mother. How can I describe it all? Ah, what a state I passed through. Sleep left me completely. He continued, I have not read books, but people show me respect because I chant the Divine Mother's name. Sambhu Malik said about me, "Here is a great hero without a sword or shield." Laughter. To the doctor, it is very difficult to understand that God can be a finite human being and at the same time the all-pervading soul of the universe. The absolute and the relative are his two aspects. How can we say emphatically with our small intelligence that God cannot assume a human form? Can we ever understand all these ideas with our little intellect? Therefore, one should trust in the words of holy men and great souls, those who have realized God. They constantly think of God as a lawyer of his lawsuits. Unless a man is guileless, he cannot easily have faith in God. God is far, far away from the mind steeped in worldliness. Worldly intelligence creates many doubts and many forms of pride of learning, wealth, and the rest, pointing to the doctor. But he is guileless. For seekers of God, the constant company of holy men is necessary. The disease of worldly people has become chronic, as it were. They should carry out the instruction of holy men. What will they gain by merely hearing their advice? They must not only take the prescribed medicine, but also follow a strict diet. Diet is important. Doctor, yes, it is the diet, more than anything else, that causes the cure. Girish to the doctor with a smile. You have already spent 3 or 4 hours here. What about your patients? Doctor, well, hang my practice and patience. I see I shall lose everything on account of your Paramahansa. All laugh. To Girish M. and the other devotees, my friends, consider me as one of you. I am not saying this as a physician, but if you think of me as your own, then I am yours. To the Master, the illness you are suffering from does not permit the patient to talk with people, but my case is an exception. You may talk with me when I am here. All laugh. Master, please cure my illness. I cannot chant God's names and glories. Doctor, meditation is enough. Master, what do you mean? Why should I lead a monotonous life? I enjoy my fish in a variety of dishes, curried fish, fried fish, pickled fish, and so forth. Sometimes I worship God with rituals. Sometimes I repeat his name. Sometimes I meditate on him. Sometimes I sing his name and glories. Sometimes I dance in his name. Doctor, neither am I monotonous. Master, your son Amrita does not believe in God's incarnation. What is the harm in that? One realizes God if one believes him to be formless. One also realizes God if one believes that he has form. 2 things are necessary for the realization of God: faith and self-surrender. Man is ignorant by nature. Errors are natural to him. Whatever path you may follow, you must pray to God with a restless heart. He is the ruler of the soul within. He will surely listen to your prayer if it is sincere. Whether you follow the ideal of the personal God or that of the impersonal truth, you will realize God alone, provided you are restless for him. Your son Amrita is a nice boy. Doctor, he is your disciple. Master, with a smile, there is not a fellow under the sun who is my disciple. On the contrary, I am everyone's disciple. All are the children of God. All are his servants. I too am God's child. I too am his servant. Uncle Moon is every child's uncle. End of that day. End of today's reading.